anniversary. I still had it under wish list. And she was like, you want a name? I was like, Baby Aaron's.
Baby Aaron's.
She goes, wow, you really don't have the words today.
I've already started recording, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I can see that. The red light is on.
All right.
Am I going to know any answers to these questions?
Your life.
How hard are these questions?
You should.
You're going to answer everything, babe.
It's all multiple choice, don't worry.
Oh, good. C on all the above.
Let's start from the beginning. Do you always want kids?
That's a good question.
I mean, truthfully, no.
So Heather was scared in the beginning when we first started dating because she had heard that I was really good with kids and I love kids. So she was like, oh, we're going to get married. Like, he's going to want kids.
I thought
immediately.
Immediately.
Like, yeah. 9 months later, we're going to have babies.
I was like, that's not me.
So she made sure that when we were dating, she's like, we're talking like 3, 4, 5 years,
maybe
right?
longer,
Before
maybe never.
Kids. Yeah, you weren't exactly on the kid train.
No. Well, and then after we were married for about 5 years, we decided we were going to start a family. But I have epilepsy, and it's the really bad kind. Not that there's a good kind, but my neurologist said that the combination of meds that I take, I mean, it's a miracle they ever found something that actually regulated the seizures. But he said that, that would prohibit me from being able to have kids. And so we were going to start praying for a miracle, but God immediately put on our hearts adoption.
Yeah.
That was when somebody from Place of Hope was like, come to this meeting, it's about adoption.
Yep.
But it wasn't.
It's about fostering, which is where things started.
So different, and it's where things started, yeah.
So when you went to this meeting and it was about it was actually about fostering, not adoption. What was your thought? What was your first thought?
No, immediately no.
Well, that was Heather's first thought.
That's true.
We were probably less than 5 minutes into the meeting.
He was a lot more sensitive to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit was already telling me, like, this is what you need to do. Like, first it blew me away. I had no idea the amount of kids just in Palm Beach County that needed fostering, like needed care. Yeah. It blew my mind. I was like, this can't be true, but it was true. And yeah.
For me, it was like the heart-wrenching commercial you never wanted to see, and I just was like, still no.
Yeah. So we leave this meeting, and Heather, I'm like, hey babe, what do you think about fostering? And it was a hard no. It was like, no, we're not talking about this.
I was Jonah running in the opposite direction, and it took a few weeks of being in the whale for me.
So a few days later, I asked the question again, babe, you thought about fostering anymore? Yeah, no, not doing it. So 2 weeks later, I dropped you off at a Starbucks. I had to go do a job. I dropped her off at a Starbucks. And then I come back, and she comes out to the truck, gets in the truck, and she's crying. I'm like, what do they do to you in there? And so, yeah. So then she tells me, she's like, we need to foster. And I'm like, yeah, we do.
Yeah, it was really just me finally listening to God and finally being receptive to, because honestly, I just didn't know what it would look like. They talked a lot about the need, and they talked a lot about like needing people to step in for these kids. But in my head, it still looked like running an orphanage, and I was like, no, I can't do. And also the goodbyes that you bond with these kids, you get to know these kids, and then the goal is reunification. When you foster, it's not a forever situation. Ideally, they get reunified with their biological families. And so for me, that was like, I don't know if I can do that. And so when I finally did like listen to what God was telling me, it was a big leap, because I just had to trust that I might get my heart broken, and probably will get my heart broken, but God's going to be there holding the pieces.
So tell us about the first child you adopted. I mean, the first child you fostered.
So that was Dwan.
That's a little boy.
Yeah, so he was the first one.
He was 2.
Yeah, that we fostered. And they just, one night, it's like 7 to 8 p.m., they just come by the house and drop him off. Yep. And it's like, here, take care of him.
He has always had the sweetest spirit. Just...
yeah. He didn't, obviously he was, kind of disheveled that night and everything, but we didn't even have much food in the fridge. We He was so little, I just set him up on the kitchen counter and I was trying to talk to him and he didn't really want to say anything. And so we had hot dogs in the fridge. I was like, you want me to make you a hot dog? And he almost nodded his head a little bit. So I made him a hot dog and he woofed that
he
down.
woofed it down.
I mean, he wasn't
He's never had trouble eating.
Yeah, he wasn't any different back then. So, but then he goes back.
Yeah, he was reunified. He had been separated from his biological family because he'd been found wandering by himself, and it was in
the street, middle of the road.
Yeah, and it was a known crack house. So that was his situation, and there's a lot of information that we learned over the years, and we did get to know his biological mother, and there was a lot that transpired there relationally, because again, the goal is different, and that really was eye-opening for me because you have to step into somebody else's shoes. You're forced to step into somebody else's shoes, somebody that their life probably looks a lot different than yours, and so you wrestle with questions and you wrestle with things that otherwise, you can end up in a nice, pretty comfortable bubble, and it busts that real quick. So,
how long did he stay with you before?
It was a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little less than a year.
Yeah. Gradually, she did the necessary, like they have to take classes and go through counseling and get a job and things like that. There are different criteria for different people. But she did all of that. She worked really, really hard, and she successfully, got them a safe place to live, and then they were reunified.
Yeah. During the time when we had Dwan, we had another little boy come in, and so he was even younger, but he came in. So he and Dwan. They were so tight. They weren't related, but yeah, they got to know each other pretty well. And one of the really sad parts about it was we were out with Dwan and some other family, and Jaden was back at our house with your parents, right?
Yeah,
Anyway, we get a call that they're coming to pick up Jaden within an hour, and
we had 30 minutes.
So Dwan didn't even get to say goodbye to him. Dwan had no idea that when we left that morning just to go run a few errands, that when we came back, Jaden wasn't going to be there anymore. So we come back gone. And Jaden's gone. Never got to say goodbye, So then. And
that one was really sad too because it was not a good situation.
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily going back to a great situation.
The lawyer in that particular situation that the biological parent had hired, very fancy lawyer, and they got the parent off on a technicality, and so we knew the situation that little boy was going back into was not good, but there was nothing we could do. So
we pray for him a lot.
So Jaden leaves, and you still have Dwan. Eventually, about a year, Dwan goes back. He's reunited to his biological.
Well, first you have to introduce the little girl we started fostering. So he's still with us. And
Dwan is,
we were planning because we knew the reunification was coming up, and we'd already been through what we'd been through with Jaden, and so we were kind of planning we were in a little bit of a grieving period, and so we were we're gonna take a little bit of a break, that type of thing. But I kept telling you, I was like, God keeps telling me there's a baby girl coming into the picture, and I was like, I'm thinking it's gonna be after we get a chance to breathe and all this kind of stuff. No, we got an email about a little baby girl they were having trouble placing. And newborn. She was 5 days old.
Yep.
And so we just our hearts melted, and like I said, God had been telling me look out for this little baby girl. So anyway, so we went to the hospital. Dwan was with us.
Yeah, little Dwan was walking. Yeah. We went, picked her up straight from the hospital, 5 days old, and so we fostered her for about 9 months until the adoption went through. Passion Abigail.
So you go through all the proceedings, and it was we kept laughing, and they were laughing too. Honestly, they were because you already go through such a rigorous background check, all the things, home inspection, all this kind of stuff. You go through all of that for fostering. Yep. It doesn't matter. When it turns to adoption, they still come back out and they still do all of the same stuff over and over. And some of it's even more, like in depth, but they were laughing because it's like you, yes, Destin.
During that time when we were fostering Passion until the adoption went through, that's when Dwan was reunified with his mom.
Yeah.
So he went back with his mom at that point. So then, it was us and Passion.
Us and Passion.
Yep.
For about 2 years.
And then what happens?
So on my end of this, I'm driving home. Yes. Oh, so I'm driving home from work, and Heather calls me, and I think you asked. He's like, "Are you sitting down?"
I did.
I'm like, "Well, I'm driving right now, so I'm sitting down." She's like, "I just got a crazy call, and Passion has a sister that was born." And so, I was probably 15 minutes from home, and so I'm driving the rest of the way home, like trying to process this, and like, well, what does this mean?
Yeah,
what's happening?
It was shock, but it was also joy.
Yeah,
because
and there was no doubt that we were going to adopt her.
No,
it was really exciting, but then again, it's like, okay,
logistics.
Yeah, logistics. It's like, okay, is this going to be in 3 days? And okay, Passion's already 2.5 at this point, so we don't really have a lot of the baby things.
Plus,
anymore.
Destin was down in Miami, so we're driving down. Like it's and Miami is no joke. Like
we're living here in Port St. Lucie at the time instead of we'd already moved up from West Palm. So
throws everything into chaos too, because anything can be scheduled at any point, and you don't have control over it. And so work. I mean, gosh, there's so much that you just
If they say, oh, they call you and say you've got a court date tomorrow at 9 a.m.
You got to be there.
You got to make it happen to be there. You're not there, things can go down the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. It either looks like you're not intentional, or it'll drag out the dates, because they schedule the dates far in advance, whether or not they notify you. They schedule them far enough out in advance, and it's like, so you gotta make it happen, and that can be really, really tough.
Tell us about the state that Destin was in.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, truthfully, one of the reasons we were technically notified very late, because the investigator that was assigned her case honestly didn't think she was going to live. She was drug exposed. She was extremely premature. When she was born, she was only 3 pounds. Yeah. She had a heart murmur. She had hydronephrosis. She was anemic. There's like a laundry list of things that she was diagnosed with. Failure to thrive was a big issue. She was not eating. Just every indication was that this baby isn't going to make it.
Yeah. And she was in the NICU for 6 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And then they placed her in a home down in Miami.
Yeah, they had to do like a temporary placement with a nurse that they knew, because the investigator hadn't filed her as a ward of the state. And so when she was discharged from the hospital, there was a little confusion as to what happens next. But that ended up being such a God thing, because the nurse that they had placed her with, she was not only incredibly knowledgeable of how to take care of Destin, but she also was very knowledgeable about the way the system worked. And this is down in Broward County, so we don't live in Broward County, so I don't know the system down there, and I don't have connections there. And so I kept calling her and asking her all these questions, and okay, who do I call for this, or what do I do for this? And she was amazing. She was a godsend. So Destin was not in good health when we brought her home, but we watched miracle after miracle with her. Every single specialist appointment that I took her to, I would stop before every single appointment, and I would just pray God's total healing over her. And it never failed. Every single time, every specialist office I walked into, the doctor would look at me and they would do every test and everything they could possibly do, and then they'd look at me so confused and they'd go, I can't find a thing wrong with her.
Yeah, they're like, she's tiny, but
she's healthy.
So,
a couple years later.
Well, Destin took over the family. That's what happened.
Tiny but mighty, never.
She's like, I'm the boss.
Rang
I
so
run this
true.
house. So how many years later?
It was like 2 years later, because she was adopted in 2019, and then in 2021.
Yeah.
I get another call from DCF. Apparently, they only call me for one reason. But they.
Would you like a kid?
Hey, I'd rather that reason than many of the others. So they called me, and they said they were calling about a little boy that we once fostered. And it was Dwan. And things had not gone the way that we had hoped. And he was in need of a home.
Yeah.
But
since we had fostered him the first time and he'd been reunited, how many places? 13. So he had been moved 13 times. At one
7
point,
years.
like he was local here, like Palm Beach County. Mm-hmm. That's where we initially fostered him. Yeah, that's where he was born. And so he had actually been moved across on the West Coast because they didn't have a place to put him here. Mm-hmm. And so then during that 13 times, obviously he's in elementary school at this point. So he's getting moved from school to school to school. And by the time he came to live with us, he was, how old was he? 8?
He was 9.
9. And he was essentially at a kindergarten level.
Not even on some things.
Yeah, for school, because it wasn't his fault. They had just moved him so many times. He never had a chance to settle in and teachers to work with him and all that. So then once he got with us, it was first we had to actually find a school that would take him. And
we did. We found an amazing school where he's at now.
With Laurel, and so...
Zoe Live.
Yep, so they were able to work with him, and now he's at grade level and making A's and B's. Yep. So after a few years. Yep. So... He's come a long ways.
So when people look at your family, obviously, we're going to ask the obvious questions. This is not off mic.
Exactly, but seriously.
You guys are white.
Correct.
Your children are all black.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm sure there are people that want to know, respectfully.
Yes.
Why?
I mean, there are people who also want to know, not respectfully, but correct. Yes.
Experience that too.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, it's certainly not something we set out to do. It wasn't like on purpose that way. It wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the hard truth of it is when we started fostering, if there is a white baby or a child that needs fostering, most likely they'll find a foster family a lot quicker than they will for a black baby or a black child. So that's just the reality of it was that, these, like, just with Passion, they were having trouble placing her. Newborns are actually, I mean, so many people would love to adopt a newborn.
Exactly.
And this is fostering, but a lot of times that does lead to adoption.
Exactly.
But, yeah, unfortunately, they couldn't find a placement for her. That's how we would... I guess when we would get emails essentially about kids that needed placement, and the majority of the time I would say that they were black children that needed placement. And I mean, we were just grateful.
Oh my gosh,
to
absolutely.
be able to initially serve as a foster family, and the color of the child had no bearing on how we approached it. So
no, I mean, it changed things though in how we built community.
Yeah. Because
there are many things that we can't educate our black son on how to be a black man in America. Neither one of us have that experience. And that does lead to some really hard conversations that we don't have immediate family members of our own, like blood, that can speak to that. But we have friends in the body of Christ that have become like blood family to us and have stepped in to be those father figures and to be, I mean, the way that you, Ivory, speak into the girls' lives and their experiences. And that's something that we can't do this without.
Yeah. And bringing that culture in.
Yeah.
And it's been, I will say, just for me personally, it's been eye-opening to see, certain things that Passion or Destin or Dwan are going through now or may have to go through just because of the color of their skin. And it's been insanely eye-opening for me and very humbling too.
Oh, very.
To realize, there have been times maybe when I was on the other side of this and
I was insensitive.
Yeah, I didn't realize what I was doing or saying, and eye-opening.
How has this whole process changed you?
I'm more interested in finding out who God created here than how they look like me or how they act like me. I want to know who did God create you to be? rather than fashioning them after myself, I want to fashion them after their creator.
Yeah. Becoming a parent, I think sometimes this quickly, the way foster care or adoption can work, you kind of get thrown into it right away. And I had great parents growing up and great role models. I think that really helped a lot. But it's different parenting and caring for an adopted child versus a biological child. There are a lot of differences, and people that haven't done that or experienced it, it's hard to explain it to them. There's so many aspects of it. It's like you don't have family history to look back at, or you don't have there aren't those like similarities that are there, but God does something miraculous in adoption. And it's like Dwan, Passion, Destin could not be any more my children. I mean, it's even to the point where you start to see similarities. Like, oh, that's literally how I acted as a kid. Like, there are things Passion does where I'm like, that so reminds me of how I would have interpreted that as a kid. And so it's a learning experience, and it's very hard to explain it to other people that haven't experienced it or been through it, because sometimes I feel like they don't think, it's like, how could this be, they're not your blood, so how could you love them as much? But I feel like you do, and possibly even more than even the biological children. And it's not really a path that when Heather and I got married, that we ever saw God taking us on. But I will say it's been probably one of the biggest blessings in our life that we've ever experienced. Like, it has been so rewarding for us, and just a blessing to be able to do this. Is that we approach life differently now. Yeah. And I think if we'd have had, you'd gotten pregnant, we'd had biological children and all this, I don't think it would have been the same.
And I think it changed the trajectory of our life, the way that we, like I said earlier, our purpose even. Yeah. Because I don't see us stepping out and starting a nonprofit and moving to New Orleans and any of that. And
like God showed you too, like this is our move to New Orleans. There's ministry that He wants us to do there, but we also know that a big part of this is for our children. Yeah. And so I mean, obviously, there will be more people that look like them there. So there's a good chance Heather and I'll be the minority, and I'm great with that. I'm like, I don't, sometimes it can be tough seeing your kids in situations where, they probably feel a little uncomfortable because, nobody looks like me in the room.
Exactly. And,
But somehow, we don't know all of God's plan in this, but we know that this move to New Orleans is a big part.
About them.
About the kids.
Yeah. So, oh my word. I got a call from DCF, which is how like every turning point has happened.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. And Passion and Destin had a biological baby brother born in Miami.
On Monday.
Yeah. And they call, they tell us this, and of course the question is, do you want to adopt? And
never saw our family having family of 6 with 4 kids, but and 2
never.
But we definitely said yes.
Oh, immediately.
And, even at this point, a few days later, he's a few days old. We don't know much about him at all. Haven't seen a picture. Yeah. I'm not even sure he has a name at this point.
They're doing the home study tomorrow, so.
But it was definitely unexpected, and I would say that we are both possibly still a little bit in shock. Yeah. Crazy excited.
Yeah, my brain is not fully functioning.
And I was literally days away from, we have a crib that we use for, it was actually Passion and Destin. Both of them use this crib.
It was for Jaden as well.
It's been in the attic. We're getting ready to move. I'm like, well,
it was literally the last piece of baby stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And within, I think it's 10 days or so. Anyway, we're doing this kind of big, getting stuff out to the trash and all that. And that was going in the trash in a few days. And so, and instead of it going in the trash, we pulled it down out of the attic and painted it and got it ready. So.
Okay, so you get the call
Yes.
You made the decision to adopt this beautiful baby boy. What is going through your minds? Because your youngest child right now is 7.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Your oldest right now is 13.
Correct. Yes.
This is a brand new baby boy.
Oh, we were done with the baby stage. We literally were, every time we would be out in public and a parent's baby would be having a meltdown or their toddler was having a tantrum, or we'd be like, wow, we're past that. Like we're not dealing with that anymore.
Yeah, life definitely changes when you don't have an infant, a toddler anymore. There's a lot of things that you don't think about.
It's
and
100%
it's like,
true.
oh, we don't have car seats in the cars anymore. We don't have formula spilled all over a crib or clothes or the car seat. We're trying to clean up all the time. Just all the little things. But yeah, I love little babies.
Oh
and
my gosh.
So I was telling Heather, one of the things I want to do when he gets here is I love to, like on a nice cool morning, put him in the stroller and
go for a walk.
Just go for a walk and do that. I did that with Passion and Destin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking forward to that with this little guy. But yeah, no clue this was coming.
There was shock. There was utter shock. And still some residual shock. But what goes through your brain is so much, there's a lot of emotion, obviously. And wanting to hold him and wanting to know all the details and make sure he's safe and bring him home and all those things. But there's also logistics. Like, let's be real. We have zero baby stuff anymore.
Yeah, no baby stuff.
Literally none.
And it's been fine. It's like, oh, our car, both of our vehicles would seat 5 people.
Yep.
We're good. We got 5 people in the family.
We were like, check.
Now it's like, oh, we need.
Neither one does.
I definitely think of all the logistics. And Heather mentioned, she's like, yeah, we can't all fit in our car. And I was like, what? I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
We might gotta have a third row seat now.
Yep.
So.
We've converted my office into a nursery. So, there's just everything is shifting. All the pieces are moving in order to accommodate. But there are a lot of pieces that still just don't even exist. Like where even just you get the funds for all of it.
When you jump in right away and it's like, okay, we got to have a nursery, we got to have this and that, but you jump in and you just start making it happen.
Yeah.
And we still don't know when he's going to be here, when he's coming home.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Come on. You've been trying to get in on this anyways.
Okay, guys. So, Passion, raise your hand. Destin, Dwan. Okay. Who's excited about their new baby brother?
Me!
What's his name, guys?
Aaron Judge Preston, AJ.
Who came up with that name?
Destin did Aaron, Di did Judge.
Oh, all three of you unanimous. This was the only name you unanimously decided on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Remember?
picked the name. We all three picked the name.
There are a lot of names that y'all definitely.
Oh, you vetoed every single
got
one
rid
of my
of.
suggestions.
But
So
this one you were good with.
So, what do you guys think? What do you think about getting a brand new baby brother?
what do you think?
I don't know. Cool.
Cool.
Because you won't be the baby anymore?
Yeah, not sure you're happy about that one.
So, Mom and Dad, how can people contribute, support you guys in this new stage of your journey?
Well, I would say the first thing is we would love for you guys to be just praying about the whole situation. There, with an adoption, there's court dates. There's a lot that we have to get through before things are finalized. We've already talked to them and told them that we've got essentially 90 days until we move.
Yeah.
And so we're moving out of state, and so we're wanting to try to get the adoption through before then. It can still happen after the move, but it'll be much better to get things taken care of before then. We want to get him here as soon as possible, so that we're praying that he's healthy right now and that he'll be able to be released from the hospital soon, and then get the home study taken care of and all the legal paperwork so that he can get here as soon as possible. That'd be the first thing. But
Absolutely. And then just prayers. Absolutely. Just be praying that he's healthy and he's strong, and be praying that the doctors and the nurses have wisdom right now. And until he's discharged, they're the ones taking care of him. We don't really have any legal position until he's discharged from the hospital. And so just be praying for him, praying a hedge of protection. But yeah, the finances are a big one because adoption is so many expenses and kids just in general, but adoption in particular, and with the move coming up and all of the necessary things that go into preparing for that. Finances are our biggest need right now. He will not be without love. I can guarantee that. But as far as like affording diapers and just all of the essentials, finances are our biggest need.
So if someone wants to donate, where can they go?
We have a GoFundMe page for baby Aaron. And we also have, if you wanted to get him a present, we put together an Amazon list for him. He has a baby registry list. So the link is also in the GoFundMe page.
Welcome home,
Baby Aaron!